Hi guys, thanks for coming. Roland, thanks for a great event as usual. Just introducing the PrimaryBid team. Over there you have Yaron Bull, who will be presenting. He's the heads of our development, and Kieran De Silva is our CFO. We're around after for a few drinks if you want to chat with us. We'll spend a very few minutes on the presentation. I'll spend some more time on Q&A. Hopefully by now you've heard of PrimaryBid either through some of the transactions we've done or some word of mouth, and or at least from Kia, because we've actually gained a lot of traction. We've only been live for a month, but we've seen a couple of deals come in, and there's a lot of positive feedback. In short, we are an online platform allowing you to invest directly into AIM companies. Now, Yaron will take you through the process, how it all works, etc. But before he gets into it, I wanted to take a step back, just bring it back down to fundamentals and tell you why we are here and what we're trying to achieve. And to do that, I'm going to start with three facts about AIM from last year. So fact number one is that 61% of all investors on AIM are retail. Now, this underscores a point that we already know, that it's the PI community that is keeping this very vibrant and diverse market going. This is the reason why we always have these events, why these companies are presenting. Fact, last year, a total of 204 equity placings were done on AIM at a discount of 10% or greater to the prevailing market price. Now, let's just pause there for a second. 204 equity placings, a 10% discount or greater, that is, on average, close to one every trading day. Now, if you think about how many of those you were offered, and I can probably guess, because fact number three is that PIs are serially ignored when it comes to placings on AIM. Now, everything that we do at PrimaryBid boils down to that one word right there. It's access. That's what we can provide. We've been in AIM since 2009. We've forged extremely strong relationships across networks, and we've built an extremely strong group of relationships with brokers, issuers, and institutions. It's through this network that I think we'll be able to help you. And let me put that into some context. We've seen directly over 350 AIM issuers. We've got direct tie-ins with virtually all the small cap, mid cap brokers on AIM. And we've got extremely deep links into institutions. We ourselves are institutionally held by one of the world's biggest institutions. And I can tell you firsthand that it opens doors that are close to even the most prolific investors. And it is through PrimaryBid that we want to offer you this access. And we can do that in a number of ways, some of which you've already seen. The first one is through project finance, and this is what Kia is doing. This is where there's a specific requirement, where minimum thresholds need to be met, and it's very much up to you to decide. It's a very democratic process almost to say whether you think an investment is worthy to carry on or not. The second one is add-on finance. Now, a lot of the brokers we know come to us and have come to us recently and said, we're doing a placing and we've got a firm element either from high net worths or institutions, and we want the PrimaryBid investors to also participate on those same terms. Now, this is one where the pricing is set, so unlike the project finance, you don't set the price, but you are very much included in a club that typically excluded you for a very long time. And finally, and we're also going to start doing IPOs, which you'll see shortly. But we didn't quite stop there. I mean, if you look at both of these are very reactive methods. I believe, and we believe at PrimaryBid very strongly, that as a collective, your voice is extremely strong, and there's no reason why you can't directly approach issuers the way institutions do and make them take your money the way they do, quite frankly, because as a collective, you've got a lot of money between you. And that's when we get into the proactive model, and that's what we've designed, and that's what Yaron is going to come and explain to you.
Evening, everyone. I'm Yaron. I'm part of the PrimaryBid team, and I'm going to spend the next few minutes guiding you through what the placing process looks like, and I'll also show you a couple of examples. Here we see a 6-step process. The first one is very simple. You need to sign up. If you don't join the platform, you can't get involved in the placing. Once you've signed up, you can browse the platform, look at the companies that are on there. If there's any companies that you follow that you would like to see on PrimaryBid, please tell us. We have a request tab. You can request any company you want or name, and we will do our very best to get it added to the platform. Now, once you have found a company that you'd like to bid for, we will ask you to deposit funds with us. This is because when we approach a company with a funding proposal, we guarantee that proposal to the company. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that the underlying bids that we have received from our investors are genuine, and it's not just people trying to ramp a price. We require a 25% deposit, but in return for that, you'll be able to place as many bids as you like up to your bid limit, which is obviously 4 times of your deposit. So, for example, if you deposit £10,000 with us, you can place as many bids as you want, as long as no individual bid is greater than £40,000. Now, obviously, as an investor, you're probably thinking, well, if I place 100 bids of £40,000 each, I could be on the hook for £4 million worth of investment. Well, that will never happen. We guarantee that you will only ever trade on one of your bids at any time. So if one of your bids trades, we will suspend the remainder of your bids, and we will let you make a decision on whether you would like to invest again or not. Once you've deposited, you've placed your bids, you can amend your bids, change your bids, withdraw your bids as much as you like between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Outside of these hours, your bids are firm, and you're going to be committed to trade on those bids. The reason for that is because PrimaryBid is a nocturnal animal. We do all our business outside of market hours to avoid making anyone inside, and it's just a lot easier for us from a regulatory point of view. We will then build this book of bids that we receive from our investors. We will approach the company, and we will give them a range of options, different amounts at different prices. The company will then choose which one of those, if any, they would like to trade on. They will effect a placing with us, and an RNS announcement will be announced to the market next morning, ideally at 7 a.m., but definitely before 8 a.m. the next morning. Once that's announced, emails will be sent out to all our investors who have bid on that specific stock, letting them know whether they were successful or not, and if they were successful, what their allocation was, and they would also be asked to pay the remainder of the placing amount. So in the example that someone deposited £10,000, placed a £40,000 bid and was successful, they would then need to pay the remaining £30,000. Once that's done, the shares will be settled. Darwin face off to the issuer, so we will then onward settle the shares to our investors. You have a choice of whether you would like the shares delivered electronically to your broker, or you can have a paper share certificate issued in your name and sent out to your registered address. I'm now going to show you an example of what a book build could look like. Here we see ABC PLC. We've got 5 people who have placed bids for new shares. Person A has bid 10.5p for up to £95,000 worth of shares. Person B, £142,500 at 10p, and so on and so forth. We will show this book to ABC PLC. Obviously, they won't be shown the identity of the bidders, but they will be shown the prices and the amounts. In this scenario, let's just say ABC PLC would like to raise £350,000. So they will accept person A's bid and person B's bid. That will total £237,500. They will then have a shortfall of 112,500, which means they will take part of person C's bid. Now, because person C's bid was at 9.5p, the entire placing will be conducted at 9.5p. So person A will receive £95,000 worth of stock, but not at the 10.5p that he bid. He will get it cheaper at 9.5p. The same goes for person B, who will get his full allocation, again at 9.5p. And person C will be scaled back because his bid was at the final bid price, and he will only receive £112,500 worth of stock, again at 9.5p. So in total, the company will issue just shy of 3.7 million shares. To simplify, if you participate in a placing and you're successful, if your bid was higher than the final bid price, you will receive full allocation. If your bid was at the final bid price, you may receive full allocation or you may be scaled back. And any bids like person D and person E that were below the final bid price will receive nothing. Finally, I just want to talk you briefly through our first successful placing, which was done with Ascent Resources. Ascent Resources joined PrimaryBid on the 9th of March. They were one of the first companies to join the platform. The price of the shares, the closing price, mid-price of the shares the day before they joined was 0.175 pence. We saw in mid-April the shares started to trade higher. They traded higher. They got to 0.275p. Equity demand was stimulated. We saw that going through PrimaryBid. And on the 30th of April, we were able to approach Ascent Resources with a range of options. They decided to effect a placing to raise £550,000 at 0.2p. This was good for the investor because they managed to get their stock at a significant discount to the closing price the day before. And it was also good for the issuer because they raised stock at a premium to where they were before they joined the platform. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions.
Yeah, I mean, that's it from us. Look, we really encourage you guys to join the platform, log in, check it out, explore it. It is designed for you. So please give us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you. The one thing that we can guarantee is that we are listening. If you like, tell us what sort of investments you like, who you want to see, and we're the right people to get it done for you. In a nutshell, happy to take questions.
Do we have any questions for the PrimaryBid team? A couple of hands straight away down here.
What I hope is a simple question. If you're successful in your bid, can you have the shares issued into your ISA?
At the moment,
Assuming you've got funds in it.
right. At the moment, we are only accepting bids from registered users. We are looking to accept bids from institutions and brokers. So we need to speak to these brokers, make sure they're happy to give these bids to us. If that's the situation, then your ISA provider would be able to bid on your behalf.
I was assuming I'd bid as myself. Once I've got the allocation, say to you, can I put it into my ISA?
I mean, we could deliver it to your ISA provider if they're happy to accept it.
I assume that your commission is paid by the company that's raising the money.
Yes.
Is it a secret as to what your commission is, or is it flexible, negotiable, or whatever? Or could you give us a rough ballpark figure for what it is?
We'll give you the exact number. It's 4.5% that the issuer pays. This is less than the typical broking fees because we're a scalable online retail broking business. That's it, no other fees.
About the relationship with brokers, you mentioned you know the broker community very well, but there's clearly many firms in the city whose livelihood depends on the commissions that you're perhaps going to be cutting them out of by cutting out that middleman process. Yet you say you have good relationships with them.
Yeah.
Don't they hate you?
You'd think so, but the reality is we're creating a capital that they were never able to tap, or they never tried to tap. It's always been very difficult for them to amalgamate bids, to put them, to AML everyone, etc. For them, as you heard Ian say earlier, when if his shares are trading 1.2, he'd go to his broker, raise money at institution at 1, and it's just so much easier for everyone. This should have been done 10 years ago, the advent of the internet. Why is it being done now? I don't know, but we're the first ones to do it. I guess it's because of a tough, very sophisticated regulatory framework that one has to navigate, and you need to have the right network. So the brokers are not against us. They, in fact, very much with us. As I said, we've got many requests from them to say, well, look, we've got a placing. It's happening at a discount, and we'd like to announce the placing and open it up to PrimaryBid users maybe for 3-4 days, and they can come in on the same terms. This is new capital for them as well.
Okay. And you said maybe IPOs to come. Do you have conversations on the go at the moment?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, IPOs only because there's a lot of demand. I mean, look, we want to be a flexible platform. We want to pivot to what the investor wants. This is absolutely critical. You can come on. You can request companies. Tell us who you want, what you want to see. We can do it. We wanted to originally just go on to be for AIM listed companies, but IPOs, I think we're already finding, investors are finding very interesting, so we will be offering them over the next few months.
Now, can you explain, just my understanding, with the proactive model that Johan described, where let's say there's a company that I'm interested in, a few of us are interested, and we request them, you approach them and say, do you want to join the platform? Do they at that point then have to say how much they're interested in raising, or do you kind of wait for a while, see how much money starts to get bid for them, and then if that's the case, how much, let's say between us there's £500,000 worth or a figure, at what point do you decide it's now worthwhile going back again? How often do you go back and say, what about this number, what about this number, what about this number on these terms?
To the company?
Yeah.
We'll have a dialogue to know at least what sort of levels, if they are interested at all. Now, if you suddenly see a huge surge in demand, you can always go to them. Now, there are absolute limitations on what they can do. One is the non-preemptive permissions that a company can issue, which gets renewed every month at an AGM. This is typically around 15%. There is, of course, the prospectus directive, which is €5 million every year. And so there's a bunch of limits that a company cannot go above. But, in the beginning, we're talking about very high growth AIM companies, where, like Ascent, where 550,000 was valuable to them, and they raised that much. In fact, if I remember correctly, I would say a huge portion of placings, in fact, I think 80% of AIM placings were done below 2 million, either 2 or 5 million. I need to get that right. I think it's 5 million actually.
Any other questions? Gentleman over here.
Just trying to understand the process. So effectively, someone's putting a bid in. But that's almost becomes a floor for the company. And then once those bids exist, the company then, who may receive the money, then has a choice of looking at other offers. I mean, how long are those bids into the withdrawal, if you want to withdraw? And who's the custodian of the money?
So the bids are live during market hours. So you can put it in, you can take it out. Right. And once the market closes, as Yaron said, those bids become firm. The company has to agree to that placing within that time frame. So let's talk about a live example. Imagine during market hours we see a lot of bids coming in for a certain company. We could call them up and say, hey, look, we're seeing some action. Here's sort of what the price is going to be around about. Get your ducks in a row. And then we'll tell you what the exact number is after market closes, at which point we'll do, and they can either say yes or no and announce at 7 a.m. Now, can they use that as can they leverage that with someone else? Possibly, but what's live right now may not be live tomorrow. So if you put the bid in and you say, well, actually, I didn't get filled, I'm actually going to pull it out, I'm not interested. The company loses that certainty. So that certainty only exists for that period of time.
So you're effectively putting your bid in, and it's intraday, you can withdraw, you can cancel your bid.
Absolutely.
Yes. At any time.
There's also the convenience aspect of it. So if we approach a company and offer them, for example, £550,000, they can have that money in the bank the very next day. If they decide to leverage it, they then have to go out and have meetings and try and get demand from elsewhere.
Frankly, the ability to withdraw it, that's key. So that
yeah,
you've got
you
that.
can always,
fine,
always
that resolves it. But, and the custodian of the
we use Jarvis to do our custody and settlement, so they hold everything on our behalf.
Thank you.
I think just important to know that we've designed this platform with you in mind, so all of those flexibilities, it's built specifically to make life easy for you.
Any other questions? Did you have a question?
Is there not a two-way market at the moment on AIM anyway? Because those bids that you put on screen just look like a standard, trading book that people would put in an offer. But what is there some sort of a blockage in the system at the moment that there's no way to sort of bed on for retail customers?
It's very similar. I've been in the market for 16 years. It's very similar in process to a closing auction on sets. I don't know if you're familiar with it. But the difference between this and just a normal order book is this is cash that actually goes directly to the company. So you're not dealing in secondary stock, you're dealing in primary stock, and you're actually funding the company. So just like in a normal crowdfunding website, you put money in and the money goes to fund the company for a project or whatever, it's the same with this. You're getting shares, but in return for these shares, your cash is going directly to the company to fund them. And at the moment, this is predominantly done by institutions, and the retail are excluded for various reasons. One of the main ones is regulatory. We've overcome that, and we found a way to allow the retail to directly fund companies.
This is similar to a share placing.
It's exactly a share placing.
It's crowdfunding AIM placings, essentially. The other key point to note is if you use Ascent as an example, if you wanted to purchase Ascent stock, your regular means, you would go to your broker, Hargreaves Lansdown, whoever that may be, and you would purchase in the secondary market at a set price. What this allows you to do, which is really changing what's really been available to retail investors, is you bid the company at a discount to market price, which has never previously been available to retail investors. That's always been the preserve of institutions.
And I think we at Shares, we don't endorse any companies, we don't have any view on what a good platform is or a poor platform, but I think that what we hear a lot from our readers and from users of our websites is that frustration about not getting access when there is a fundraising or being excluded from deals when discounts are being offered. And if, obviously do your own homework, but if this does deliver that access, then that is something which is quite a game changer potentially for individuals who are interested in investing in those companies that might want to be raising money for whatever reason. I think that's it for us. We're out of time. Thank you very much indeed for coming. Appreciate it, everybody.